Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I would like to give you all a speech about HIV and AIDS, what it can do to your body, and how to prevent yourself from contracting this disease. Since 1981, AIDS has taken the lives of more than 25 million people. In 2014, 35 million people worldwide now live with AIDS, with 3.2 million being children under the age of 15 years old. Each year, approximately 2.1 million individuals contract HIV. A few of you may already know the seriousness of contracting a sexually transmitted disease. As there is no cure, this disease is deadly. Although you may not know the severity of it, you may know someone who could use this information on how to prevent or treat it. Although I am no doctor, I do find it very intriguing how something you can't see, can't hear, can take over your body without you even knowing. You may not be worried, but I will guarantee you will be more aware about sexually transmitted diseases. HIV and AIDS has become a serious disease with no cure available. HIV takes over your body, and there are many ways to prevent yourself from contracting this disease. Although there is no cure, there is a treatment to slow down the process of HIV and AIDS. HIV does stand for human immunovirus, which then leads to AIDS, acquired immune deficiency syndrome. Now, some of you may think that when you do contract AIDS, you just straight out contract AIDS. That is not the case. The case is you contract HIV, which then leads to the more serious AIDS. HIV weakens your immune system, which then makes you more susceptible to other diseases or infections. HIV is a virus spread through bodily fluids that infects specific cells of the immune system. These cells are called CD4 cells, or T cells. Over time, HIV can destroy so many of these cells that the body can't fight off infections and diseases, like the flu. For example, if you do have HIV, your immune system is obviously weak, trying to fight off the infection. So if you do contract something as simple as the flu, it can turn something that's not life-threatening into something that will threaten your life. When this happens, HIV then can lead to the seriousness of AIDS when your immune system gets so weak that it can't defend off itself. Viruses such as HIV cannot grow or reproduce on their own. They need to infect the cells of a living organism in order to replicate, which then makes new copies of themselves. The human immune system usually finds and kills viruses fairly quickly, but HIV attacks the immune system itself, the very thing that would normally get rid of a virus. The immune system fights off infections like the flu, and then your body becomes immune to that strand of infection. With HIV, our immune system can't fight it off, and the scientists are looking into why. There are many ways to contract HIV and AIDS. For example, the most common, unprotected sex. I'm sure you've all heard of this. I'm sure your parents told you, make sure you use protection. The most common ways of contracting HIV are sex, like I said. But there are other ways. There's blood transfusions, so you can use a needle for that. There's contaminated hypodermic needles, like I just said, so you can use a contaminated needle that was used by someone previously who has HIV. There is childbirth, which, for instance, a child can be born from a mother with HIV, can be born without HIV. But then there is ways to contract HIV through breastfeeding. So if that mother who has HIV breastfeeds a child who doesn't have HIV, the child then contracts HIV. Now knowing how to transmit the disease, there are many ways to prevent it. For example, use a new condom every time you have sex. That's common sense, but for some people, they don't have enough money to buy a new condom every time. So even if you don't have enough money, just make sure you don't have sex. Use a clean needle, obviously, but for example, there's some people out there that can't afford a new needle every time. Get yourself and your partner tested for HIV, and as simple as reducing the number of sexual partners that you have. Although there are no definite treatments to prevent your body from HIV and AIDS, there is treatments. You can take medicine that prolongs your life with HIV and AIDS. There's a new thing as of 2012 called fusion inhibitors, which is a new class drug that acts against HIV by preventing the virus from fusing with the inside of a cell, preventing it from replicating. So now, hopefully you may know and better understand what AIDS can do to the human body. Hopefully I've made you more aware about it, and hopefully you can share this with someone you may know. After learning what HIV and AIDS is, looking at how to prevent it, and treatments you can do to live longer, you can determine if you want to be more aware about it or keep living life on the edge and be among those 35 million people. Today, I would like to end with a quote from an avid AIDS, HIV, and fighter. No one can lead our lives for us. We are responsible for our own actions. So people, especially the younger generation, need to be very careful